Hello, everyone. This is your host, Sharon Serota. We're at SunGates Center with our special guest, Ella Arbit. Welcome, Ella.
Thank you.
Well, Ella is a graduate of Integrative Medicine Fellowship founded by Dr. Andrew Weil. And our special topic today is near-death experiences. And near-death experiences is on the rise. And Ella, this is a special topic, and I know that it means so much to you to be talking about this today. Can you share a little bit about your journey with this?
Well, supposedly I had not a near-death experiences. I had a problem spiritually at the age of 8 when God didn't anticipate my mischievous soul. At that age, I was kind of a kiddish. Explained to me, a person, that something took place and I was not, I would say, home. That was it. And I remember my reaction to it. I remember I was surprised, but calm, very calm about that. So that's it for my own experiences.
So you're about 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly happened that you had this experience?
Well, for a long time, and Father Hashem, I'm a devoted person, only took an opportunity to explain to me after a few years of working with him directly about the practice that him and I honored. We did, after I arrived to Earth, I continued to go up there nightly with my guardian angel. And I was told a few other kids. And I think the things will unveil after this because I'll know who those kids were. I partially know the purpose. There was somebody special up there who didn't arrive to Earth yet, and we needed to be together. Plus, I needed to study more. So my soul required a connect with divine nightly for something spiritual that I will know soon, pretty shortly.
Was this in your dreams that you were dreaming this, or were you purposefully engaged somehow with some, mind-body experiences?
My soul went to the Creator. That's all I'm pleased to say. And for time being, I won't know because it's a beautiful story, Father says, and it needs to be explained to me at the appropriate time. There will be somebody else who will know about this experience, and it's like a book. He says it's a love story. He says that complexity of which I don't know. He says, but I mastered going back with my guardian angel. Soul is very small. The spirit varies, and probably these topics will be explained a little bit more by me because it's his intent, a creator, to give me that part, a very proud part of who we are and what happens. It's very sacred, but he's willing to give this information to me because as a creator, and because I became a creator, we create with Father. I must teach more about this topic. It's very important for us medically to know what shall we don't do. But supervised, I've taught myself nothing. I've been always supervised. It's a wonderful part of my structure that knows Creator by heart. My heart will never venture anywhere without the permission. I'm just built this way.
Many people are coming forward with their stories, their adventure, that they have left their body, that they can actually see what their body looks like, and yet they're having some kind of exponential experience, whether they're seeing a tunnel or they're seeing a light and they're going towards that, and they feel freedom, or they feel as though they're on some other special journey away from their physical body, no longer in touch with that they don't feel the pain anymore, that they have almost a different type of understanding about the world. And there's so many other experiences that people have once they've left their bodies. And then they talk about this when they come back. So what other information can you share with us about it?
Well, it's a quantum issue. An issue that needs to be explained because this is a quantum age. We need to know medically and structurally and physiologically that quantum comes to us very compact. It's very intricate part of a human body that is not studied. We will talk more about physiology, but protocols. The protocol is an unusual experience. The protocol that happens during, Father says it's part of the enlightenment protocol, which he almost dares us to the point of reconstructing our view of who he is to us. And he does it with the soul that knows how to respond to him. Exponentially, yes. There are a multitude of people that will be continuing to experience these adventures, I would say. Adventures because it's a spirit part. The let go doesn't happen with the creator within you. So he marched me through all the stages of development himself to the part of creatorship where you become so solid, and we structure went back and forth and over all the parts and connects, and they're a conglomerate of connections. People are more suicidal nowadays. They are disconnected. Now, the pill doesn't connect it back. There's no pill for it. There are problems, but to finish my thought process, we medical professionals need to be A, aware, B, need to be trained. So one of my eyes is on the topic, another eye is forward going with a problem solver above who needs to connect us to the, this is the proposition, this is how we need to address this issue. It's a global issue. It's not just for Americans to solve. It's a global, it's an international issue. Codes probably will be gluing back the parts that cannot glue themselves, like a super glue. So there is a code for everything, by the way. Our bodies are very intelligent. The intellect that I studied with Father, and I have important teachers that he trusts me with. Universal codes are important. This is when we're beginning to introduce the codes. Codes are the fixer-uppers for almost anything. Anything that I've experienced and he's shown to me are coded, fixed within, it's like a little globe that comes in and does it for you.
So when people actually have a near-death experience, they're having some kind of a spiritual experience where either they may see ones that have passed away before, maybe some family members, or some actually have traveled to other galaxies, or they can now see what could happen in the future, make some predictions. Some people have even come back to their bodies and experienced now becoming in a healthier body, where their body's now being healed. And some other people even have come back with some extra sensory abilities. So when they do come back and they share these stories, and some people are either believing it or not believing it. So what would you say to people who have that sense about it, whether it's true or not true?
All of the above. The humankind needs to know and become more aware, not more loose. So the connect between the soul and the spirit and the heart and the ego, and we're not delusional. It takes place. The gifted ones surrender. And I will stress this word, surrender. More experienced souls surrender on the spot. They're gifted. They come back with gifts. The challengers, the ones that are pushed back in their bodies by the creator. And by the way, in my clinical practice, one time, why it's fascinating, because as a clinician, I've done the returns. It was a gift to me couple of years into asking about it, and I forgot about it. As always, things happen sudden, and that's the fantastic part of the our Father, that he doesn't forget. So my mind went kind of inclusive with the topic when I went to, before my fellowship. partially I became more aware, and it's been a fantastic experience because I became aware of these experiences at a mental health conference. It was in Phoenix, and it was very comprehensive. But part of the conference, I spent speaking with a representative of International Organization of End of Life, that two people representing this organization explained their experiences, told me about how many people, I've seen statistics, it blew my mind. It blew my mind to the point that I knew much more about creatorship right there on the spot, and Father allowed for that because you cannot substitute the live person telling you about that. It was a marvelous experience. And after that, there was also both the fellowship people were introducing their program. Something sparkled within me, something connected, something reintegrated within me, and I knew I need more. So that led me onto my path. I found the fellowship. There we studied a little bit more about mindfulness, spirituality, the need to be aware and understanding a little bit more. It opened the door. I wouldn't say it opened the gate. The gate was opened by the Creator. It opened the door to a nicer understanding of where we can be as a society if we're willing to study more, which I did. I never regretted. I'm gifted every day by the quantum team, by the Creator, and I will never stop. I know. I will teach. I will teach from above.
Yeah, I love that people, want to continue their studies. They want to continue practicing and being open to such existences of what we know and what we don't know. And, when people are sharing their near-death experiences, they come back and all of a sudden they could live their life almost fearlessly, that they don't have to be afraid, that they lose the fears, that people who may not have experienced something like that they don't realize until they actually go through that, a near-death experience.
Well, losing fear is not a good object to discuss either with people like that. It's almost unnecessary. They lose aura. This is what Father I was just asking. He says they lose aura, which leads to a lack of understanding where you are. And he says it's a good question to discuss. Losing aura, it's almost losing magnetic field, but it's almost losing love. So they stay with light. But love doesn't teach you to disrespect your senses. Love doesn't teach you that. So light and love need to be connected properly. And that's something that I study with him right now. That's our beautiful subject of discoveries. So I'm actually preparing a lecture in regard to magnetic field. It's very popular in the future, he says. I need to lead people towards the magnetic fields, what they give us, because the codes come through the magnetic field, and that's the fixer-upper of what the future of medicine will know.
Isn't there, because of the magnetic field syndrome, that there's a lot of distortions or interferences with our own magnetic field because, computers, TVs, cars, all kinds of technology and environmental that affects our auric field and our magnetic field? They
can empower or distort. I'm empowered by magnetic field. My immune system is fixed. I can't remember being sick. My health is so wonderful because I am connected with proper field. But it's quantum. It gives you strength. It gives you desires to be strong. It gives you necessary. Unnecessary comes with lack of such a field. Much more will be developed in regards to structure and health. By the way, you mentioned before that some people come back healed. I'm actually working with Father in the field of where healing takes place above. So almost all that I brought down is based on what he called it high health. So I've reached a point in my discoveries with him where I know where the the plumbing is. I don't know how I even said where the plumbing is. And he's smiling right now. He says, "I gotcha." My heart is connected to him, and my structure, part of me, part of the design that keeps me healthy, is actually above.
So how does a person help themselves to be stronger and healthier so that they can live a healthy life?
Via modem, and modems are almost there for me to describe. Modem is part of the healing protocol that that it's a miracle. When we see, and he encourages for me to use the word miracles, when we see the miracle, that's what I'm studying with him. And he still, for me, it's not a miracle anymore because I know. But he says, you need to say what others need to know. It's a miracle. Because he's not supposed to give us all, but because we're willing to accept more. And he taught me to ask for more. And that's how I knew more. A good soul, a good creator within a person will be A, healthy, will be B, positive, will be C, absolute. And absolute medicine needs to know what's absolute. Absolutely happy, absolutely healthy, absolutely indigo in a way, all-knowing. I know much more than I can even suggest, describe, or reciprocate with another person.
You know, we're finding that more stories are coming out about this. There's books, so many books out there. And there's also some movies that have come out. We've talked before about Miracles of Heaven, where the young girl actually has a visitation. And she comes back into her body. And she said, well, I'm not going to be coming back to my body unless she's healed. And so we find that when she does come back to her body, the healing starts and occurs for her where she becomes 100%. And she's all healed.
And he says, by the way, he says, and good for her. She needed to command. So she used the power of command. He taught me the power of command as well. It's a toughy one, a toughy one, a little one. And sometimes they're fearless, but they're powerful in that command. Now, to speak about mental communication, you said they come back fearless. It's not a good habit to be fearless. It pushes the ego away. But ego is not a needy part. I'm studying ego a lot with above, and ego is good. We just need to not to disconnect and not to be ignorant enough to see ego, just self. It's not. It's not. This is a wonderful part of us, but it needs to be understood and studied furthermore to be explained. I know it's already happens to me. I love my ego. It's glued with my soul. It's glued with everything that is proper. It's developed. Father says it's developed. It's necessary. We come here, and I'm telling much more than near-death experiences right now, but we experience ego. We must. So fearless is not good. So that soul doesn't recognize the spirit connect, and the light within the person doesn't work to connect the ego. That's why there is, hey, I'm happy, I'm fearless. No, it regards self in a crooked way. But again, where medical professionals don't know how to ignite that, we're ignorant. We don't know what to do with these people. So they're strugglers. And what do? We give them what? A pill? Like it has something more important, and it doesn't work. That's why actually the suicide rate is high, the ignorance is high, the instances like that are enormous. And by the way, I think the pills create the problem where soul so desperately doesn't recognize the spirit, because spirit is not healed by the Prozac, by the Xanaxes. The soul is still suffering. So psychiatry doesn't understand the spirit and soul connects. And that's, by the way, why, these people were represented so hugely at the mental health conference. So to me, I was so fortunate to have to meet these people. But it was more than, I think, 5 years, 6 years ago. The statistics is gruesome. It's still it's still a problem. It's still a societal issue. Will continue. Father is just telling me it will continue because we're still not knowing. But he has to teach, and he has to not disconnect from the issue. So what is the soul? What is the spirituality? What is the creatorship? And who is him? And why do we come back? Who is watching when it's time? Time is a virtue, by the way. Sincerely speaking, it's all about the virtue. We show up there. We stand up and say hello, and they say, please, I love you. Please go back. Everything will be okay. So we're not judged. We're lost. It's a lost spirit. It's a lost soul that doesn't know where the spirit is to come back to the body. It doesn't know creatorship portions that it needs to find it to come back. Now, clinically, I've done the comebacks. One time, I was ready to do my rounds, and on the way while I was in the car, I was told that I had Mary with me, who was walking from patient to patient, discussing issues with the patients with me. And I was Father told me that Mary will have an experience in 20 minutes, and the voice of Father is so loving, so calm, so needing me to know that everything is all right, as always. And I said, okay. And I've forgotten, because I started talking and people greet me and I'm always high-spirited. All of a sudden I hear that somebody's calling on Mary. Mary, come back to room such and such. And I'm following Mary, and one of my beloved patients is passing on, sitting in a wheelchair and passing on. All of a sudden I saw the fountain of love surrounding me, and everything became so bright that I've never had that experience before. On a regular, daily, I see white light all over me, the omnipresence of love, I know, and we work in that sphere. With my heart, I was asking the patient to come back. Nobody was teaching me. I felt something above my head, Father's hand, and his voice was telling me that she's about to come back. Internally, my life force was magnetically asking that person's soul to be back. But that's the problem. The creators are not medical professionals. The creators need to have just healthy attitude, so their life force is magnetic. It's called healing with presence. Spiritual people know presence.
So you opened up your heart to this person that was passing on and saying to yourself that you would like this person to come back. And I know many times when people have crossed over and they've met loved ones or someone that told them that it's not your time, that it's time for you to come back. And then they are shown or convinced somehow that it would be a good idea for them to come back. And you can do that here as well. So how did that work out for you?
Well, Father was just telling me, plus my life code. My life code is very pure. Life to me is sacred. So being proper in the proper space, my healing space, I could assist a person. It was very bright in front of me, very bright. I was a little, I went into awe. I didn't know what to do. But eventually people will know that the soul is a great healer. It knows what needs to be done. Maybe the person's soul connected with my soul and asked for forgiveness or something else, but there was an exchange. She's still alive. There was an exchange, and her color started to come back. She started to become alive. It was a couple of minutes, it seemed like. Everybody was freaking out. One of my patients' daughter still remembers this experience. It's a signature experience. I don't publish about that. I don't explain this. The only communication that came through me after that, that nobody, for everybody to stay in order. I needed to have more experiences like that, and Father needed me to be pure inside and not be. He didn't want me to be explained. So everybody was proper. It all dissipated. Then I had.
Well, before you go on,
Yeah.
can you explain what was this person's experience then? Did she say anything about her near-death experience?
A patient with dementia.
Did she come back? Did she still have the dementia? Was she
Yes,
still-
dementia didn't go away. I just had that tender spot in me for her, and that's it. I love. Father did tell me that the patient's spirit loved me as a provider, as a medical professional, so much that she chose to come back. Father asked the spirit if she wants to come back. She saw me being stunned, and she came back. She came back to life. Many times I've had those experiences, twice on the airplane. But the funny part is that you have nothing in your hand. You don't actually resuscitate the person, and it's taking place. So time after time, I've had those experiences. I knew everything will be fine. Twice on the airplane, I didn't do CPR. I didn't do anything. All these times, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything gruesome. I just stood in my space of healing. That's it. So I became a conduit. Of course, through me, and I have a good heart, there was a gamma wave going through me, which touched the person's heart. There are ways of resuscitating spontaneously a person. If the Creator is working, I was a vessel, which I am still. I'm a beautiful vessel, according to Him. I worked at it. But He wanted me to be encouraged, encourage others to know that before the common understanding what medicine is or was, there were still people who were humanly treated by our Creator, and the healer is still above us, and we don't know everything, and we shouldn't know everything.
It's so very interesting. You talk about spontaneous healing, that miracles happen. They happen all the time. And it's just so exciting that there's so many people out there have their own experiences. And some are open to sharing that. And, you yourself are opening up to the world, sharing your wonderful experiences and how it's helped people. And so do you feel like being a conduit or helping with the spontaneous healing has helped or transformed you in some way?
I felt there was a need for somebody to understand. These are not fortunate experiences. None of them are fortunate. He says, touch up on the other person's life. Another person, a year and a half later, decided she was unconscious and she was already, I saw the signs of early death. As I was doing rounds, it was a year and a half after that in the same place. But the funny part is, I didn't have mirror. I had another staff member who was doing rounds with me, but she was actually present during the first experience a year and a half prior. So she remained, she was okay, I assume on her part, on her behalf. The patient came back, but I was actually verbalized intensively. And God was working with me verbal, and He said, no, it's not time. She has to remain here on earth. And I was asking Shirley, and said, Shirley, are you sure you want to leave? And to me, it was kind of sweet because I knew she would come back. And as she couldn't respond, but as she was coming back, becoming more alive, but her eyes were still closed, her heart was opened. I felt the heart, I felt the pulse, I felt that she was getting back with me. She didn't want to be back, she said. But it's not up to her, it's not up to the spirit, it's up to, again, life creator in us to give us what we need. So it's a mischievous part of us who decides all of a sudden, I'm going to disconnect from my soul and I'm going to do whatever I want. No. That's the part of no, I think we all are experiencing because we're becoming a little less protective ourselves. So as we grow up, we need to be more aware of the virtues. This is the Creator speaking through me right now. Virtues to connect with right guidance from within, from the hearts. A lot of us are disconnected from the hearts. It's a huge topic in the future. The wealth of experiences comes from love, not from, okay, let me try to do something obnoxious. No. We can do other things in life. We can do better. Yes, there are sudden experiences. There are still, I don't want to make people angry and misunderstand the whole concept. There are sudden experiences, but Father says it's still impolite towards him to decide to disconnect. There is a resurrection protocol that he can implement if we become better aware of what he's intending to do. He can still come with us. He can still show us respect here on earth. He is omnipresent. We don't have to separate out of ignorance and decide to go up and fix. A lot of people are trying to meditate. A lot of people are trying to use their spirit for a vessel. It's not complete. It's incomplete. It's improper, and it's shamanistic, and it's like shamans. They try to separate and tell your spirit go and float. He says a lot of those intense experiences with shamanic forces later on in your life create problem because you're already unglued. You're already kind of separated. It's not kind already. And I'm not picking that profession, shamans, let them be, but these are his words. So don't shoot the messenger. He wants me to be proper. When I was studying in school, shamanism was mentioned in the program, by the way. I chose not to go that direction. I know medical professionals who decided to. Actually called my colleague and said, please, you will regret, don't do that. But he asked me to do it because she's a kind, loving person. He wouldn't let me near that experience because soul is my proper connect with my soulfulness. It teaches me to be healthy. It teaches me kindness. It teaches me needs, but the proper needs, not loose connects.
Well, I hear that, shamans, they do a lot of medicinal work. They help people put themselves together. They help them on their journeys. They do, different journeying so that people can actually see, visions for themselves to help them on their spiritual path. They do what they call soul retrievals. They do all kinds of different work, and they're shamans all over the world. And a lot of people find them very helpful.
Okay. To schematically talk about shamanic force. Okay, I can do it. 500,000 years ago, I was experiencing something like that, Father says. But it was fine then. Our spirituality evolved. We're not supposed to go backwards in that respect. Quantum is a solidifier. If we want to stop what we're doing and start where we need to start and open up to something new and exciting, quantum is the way. It's a solid form of what we need to be fixing with. It's more proper. Spirit should not be separated from the soul. But that's what they're practicing. It yields the force within the person that's working within the person, but who is gluing it back? Who is going to bring that spirit back with the soul? One person cannot do it. It has to be the team above. I don't know if there's too many shamans who have a respect from the Creator. It's not my path. And he says, and don't go there.
Well, I know there's many paths that people take. Different, people choose different experiences. They choose different healing modalities, different choices that they make, different, choices that they have in their decision making as to what job they take or what medical path they'd like to take. And, when one doesn't work, then they're open to trying something different. Yeah. So how can people integrate themselves into a healthy lifestyle so that they could have wonderful experiences? And if they do experience a near-death experience, maybe ask the right questions at that time.
I practice, my path is love. So Creator taught me love. At some point, Kundalini was not even good enough for me. And he laughs about that because I switched things in my understanding of what power is. To me, I'm so laid back. Kundalini was enormously disturbing to me. I found more creatorship within love, and love code was given to me, and the life force became an interesting topic for me. Magnetic field. To me, Kundalini is late experience, not evolved enough. So evolution became a presenter to me because he saw a soul that's teaching self, not self-destruction, but how to use evolution on its own. I don't know how I did that, but my God within, coupled with my soul, decided to restructure. So something that I needed to do maybe quicker than I understood, but he stood by me and he allowed me to do that. Kundalini is back with me. I think we talked, it was one of the subjects we discovered together, but I forced love. This is what I think I did. I forced love because it's so natural to me. I came from high vibration. I came from pure love. I wanted that. Some souls allow their spirit to be loose and discover their home base and goes back to the home base. But then what? It's not my issue. But love is a glue. Love is a healer. Love is proper. And by the way, we come to Earth to experience love. So why dilute it with a little bit of not so good and wait for something good to come back? I was just healing somebody the other day. I had no intent, but she was obviously suffering. Somebody on Facebook, I would say. And I felt like Creator wanted me to assist. It takes me minutes to protect that person. But why complain about issues and disregard that? If you decided to go this path, this is what teacher within me says. If you decided to go within yourself on the path of wrong discoveries, don't expect Father to find you there. He will, he might, he doesn't have to. And, he might in 15 years. But is it worth the struggle? Life is so sacred. So my topic is life, the end of life, and early departures, just to break the seal within our mind. No, I'm not tampering with anything about what's sacred, what's important, what's needed. After you become a creator and you're sealed within your love and connect with everything that's positive above you, and you're structured, and he's stressing with me word structured, you can experience, you can have all that, but he's properly training you. He says, okay, I'm ready to introduce something for you to be able in your spirit, but soul goes first. If he needs to crank up your spirit, there's a multitude of ways. There's a way. There's no pattern. I want something unknown. No, there is no pattern. There is a culture that he brings to you. Okay, if I'm your father, if I am needed, then respect me. Let's work together. We're not playing games. Above doesn't play games. It will open the gate for you to unknown. Will you come back normal? People experience, but it doesn't mean that you need to be... Then the spirit comes back. He says sluggish. The spirit will be always sluggish. He just explained. So he it will be under taken care of. It will come back, but it will be sluggish. But again, enormous problem. Psychological, not dynamically, it affects the immune system and endocrine system because everything within us is timed. I study virtue of time as far as it's a sync. Everything needs to be synced. So already we're going to be not backed up by a good spirit. So, but again, if somebody wants to struggle, I'm not teaching it. But again, it's a discovery. It's a new topic. We can be going forward with some information that he's willing to give us going forward.
Many people do struggle. They struggle
Yeah.
in their lives with the many different situations. It could be relationships, could be family, could be friends, could be financial. And what would you say to those people, how they can incorporate some of the higher teachings that you have?
Well, there are a multitude of reasons of why we struggle. Karmic struggle, needing the struggle, wrong partnership struggle, untoward experiences like a lightning, for example, going back to that, or witnessing somebody's death. Many pathways for struggle. We're on the brink of the war, for example, it's a struggle. Losing beloved, it's a struggle. But we're coded. We don't have to struggle. It takes me quarter of a second to bring somebody's spirit up. If they swallowed themselves, literally swallowed their spirit, became trapped. Quarter of a second, I can unleash that spirit. And usually in a compartment that is below, not above. We're protected to the beautiful point of where Father is kind of hushing me and says, don't explain what happens medically, what happens with the spirit. Our spirit is quantumized. And he says, hush a little bit, kind of, because I will be writing the program. It's proper later, he says. Don't explain right now. It's very simple. His way is perfect. He taught me to break the loose ties or undeveloped ties within a person within 14 seconds. He's trained me for years now. I myself don't use any pills. I don't use any psychotropics. I don't even use vitamins. We work on very divine, proper way of teaching my body to be my own castle, my own fortress, not to give in to anything untoward. And being proud is a wonderful part. It's not a particle in my eye where I think I'm proud. No, being proud heals the heart, so it works on your own behalf. Even if there is something struggling happening somewhere else, you return to self. So the heart, the prophet within you always knows how, and you will find the way, and you don't need to seek another medical professional or a healer or a shaman. You are your own created fortress. You can rehab your own heart. That I will do a lot more.
I think that a lot of people, though, do turn outward to look for healing, to help themselves, because they're not able to. They reach a point where it's gone too far, and they're looking for someone else to assist them. And I've heard of this where people all of a sudden have different perspective within minutes about themselves and where they're at. And it just changes their whole dynamic situation, just because it changed something about how they were thinking about it. Also, pains that they may have had in their body can just dissipate within minutes.
Within seconds.
Within even seconds.
Seconds.
Seen that as well. So the interesting thing is that you're saying when you turn your focus towards helping yourself or helping another person, that you're going to your heart center, that you're focusing on helping, healing, but letting it flow through you as a conduit almost.
Father says right now, he says, if they're looking for happy medium, it will take a second. If they're challenging, I want help, he says. What is your intent? Are you intending getting back? Your keys are within you. I was always taught from him, there is a healer within. You need to go to that healer within. It's one of the pathways that he taught me. But all the healing is within. He finds you within. That's why a lot of people are sitting in a retrograde. All the people who are looking for shamans, who are needing meditation, who are needing all that, they're lost. They're stagnating in the retrograde. That's why they're not healthy. They're not healthy enough. Meditation is a waste of time.
I don't know about that. I find a lot of people who find it very peaceful. They have a 10-day retreat that is a silent retreat. So it's helping people to go within themselves. I know people that meditate on a daily basis where they're just open to receiving information, just open to maybe some kind of prayer, a mantra, or just something that helps them feel more peaceful. So this kind of reminds them and brings them back to source. And so I think
Not at
at
all.
some
Not at
places
all.
that meditation is very popular.
It will break the wrong patterns in them, but it will not rebuild. So they will. The sensationalism with all that is a problem for the society. They're not proper. The source will bring a lot more information. I'm connected with the source, but source connects with your heart. They're looking for the way for their spirit out, but that's not what the Creator teaches us. Again, it's a mantra place, and Buddha is my teacher too, by the way. I worked with him a lot this morning for the society. I used to work with him when I was becoming brighter. He was enhancing my pathways, then he slowly stopped. He came back. I was happy to feel his energy and speak with him in regards to the program that I'm building. But he is the first one who says it used to be a need, but now it's a dilemma. It's their decision to tell about that. It's a dilemma because I found the way that is better. And that's the end of the story of what I will be teaching because I already know better. So
Can you share
yeah.
with us a little bit more about something better than you're telling people that meditation is improper in some way? Can you say why?
I'm very
And how
concrete.
you can fix
I
that.
am very concrete inside. I don't have an issue with anything. I don't need to rebuild anything within. I'm already sacred inside. So the spirit that goes above is never concrete. It's always missing something. And that's the sense of, oh, I need something. I'm actually perfectly fine because we have a structure. I work on nano. This is how Father trusted me with part of him. This is how bright I was at the point of him teaching me to be bright. The actual source worked with me directly. I have like a little antenna, but I studied energy and they suggested. I didn't come up with anything. So the source worked with me on no agenda. I didn't need anything. I was healthy and I was fine. They came to me so I can teach. So I never lived with a problem. B, I never created a problem in my life. But I was true self, and again, he wants to stress that they found the true self needed to explain to me. The medical professional needed to know what their issues are, what their needs are. I'm serving. I'm not needing a fix. But what I needed became a very powerful experience for me because I discovered so many new sciences. So what's retrograde? Those are retrograders, so they will be behind. Evolution taught me. Evolution doesn't teach to manifest what they're manifesting. It's period. It's the end of the story.
Things are always evolving. There's always change. And just looking upon that change or even just thoughts about what is possible. So there's many potentialities and possibilities. It's like a new wave, like something else is coming that people can practice. And that's what you're saying. And can you talk about that?
I'm not saying new. Sacred has been always sacred. My soul manifested with the Creator all my lives before. I've never been on a path of loose connects with divine. I always came for the present time to be my present time, find what I needed to find, and always found what I needed to find. He loaded me up this lifetime enormously, but everything is pre-recorded. Actually, all my findings are pre-recorded. He's just bringing it to life with me, so I know what we actually practice above and what I needed to educate myself with, again, refresh myself this lifetime. So we're on task. Actually, I've done very well. Nothing is, I'm marching forward. I'm very strong. I'm empowered by love above, by their encouragement, by their need of me, who knows what needs to be done. We have excellent real partnership with the source that trusts me to go forward and not to get discouraged by anybody's opinion. I actually was not allowed to read anything for 5 years. This is how sacred it was. Everything that I know extra is from above. It was so conditioned. One time I became a little kind of irrational. I don't know why. He probably wanted me to see. Okay, find out what happens. My eyes went cross. I couldn't see it. It was all blurred. But I have fantastic father above. He detangled everything in me, all the knowing that was wrong, the pathways which other people created. Because once you learn and love this, once you learn a love as a prophet, it clears everything. If you know the lie, it mixes all the codes, it mixes all inside of you, and you're lost again. So, but that's how I started becoming more creative with my soul and love this. I found everything that I needed to find, because soul needs to have that force of the spirit to stay together, to go to the creator, to work on all that you need to, or you promise the creator that you will bring to other people and share love. So that's about me.
So you mentioned that you weren't reading for 5 years.
Not allowed.
And so what happened was physically you really weren't able to. You said your eyes crossed somehow, that you weren't able to probably read the words. So that also stopped you from doing that. And I think that when you lose one of the senses, that your other senses strengthen, that somehow you become a stronger person.
I couldn't read anything apolitical, he says, and he's smiling from above, which is anything that he needed to teach me about. I could read, listen to news and things like that. So my senses are still intact. But the bohemia, the dilemma studies, everything that is wrong or not comprehensive in his opinion, I was not allowed to replicate. This is how he lost a lot of scientists. By the way, I talked to Albert Einstein. A lot of them who came before didn't finish their assignments, didn't finish their work, but they're still teaching from above. So their father has so much complex information from me, where I was able to actually detangle other theories from light to love. I was able to accomplish a lot more. And I'm proper. He says I'm proper.
So going back with near-death experiences, that people have them, is it also to let us know that there's something else out there, something bigger than ourselves?
It's their own experiences. There shouldn't be reciprocated. They shouldn't take place. But unfortunately, they're still going on. And fear is a major factor of why they choose to fly and find their space above. It's almost like an avatar in me can understand that. Avatars, and most people probably avatars, they find the love above and they lose connect with the soul. They want that space above, the freedom. I'm not promoting this experience. I can explain as an avatar what spirit does to go up. They're stressed and their connect is loose between the soul and the heart and the ego and the whole structure. And they love themselves enough to go up. So like you heard that little girl, she demanded the healing. She received the healing. She also is a loving kid. Many different experiences, but they're regarded. And on the spot the decision is made. Love connects them back with their purpose, and the purpose is to be on the path, on the spot, in this life, and be loving and regret nothing. And they're sorry if there are regrets, but again, who's going to handle the regrets? This is where the adequate comprehensive care needs to be developed. And that's what I'm hoping I will be able to contribute. I love myself enough. If I say it, something good will come out.
So in closing, Ella, is there anything else that you'd like to add for our listeners?
I would say life is good. Let's stick around.
And so it is.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Ella Arbit, for joining us here at SunGates Center. And thank you to all our listeners. Have a wonderful, beautiful day.
Thank you. Be well.